Thanks for giving me a chance today. So I'm going to give a talk on parental nutrition in neonates. I have nothing to disclose. So today's in my presentation, my objective will be including the classification of neonatal population to understand their needs. Then we'll discuss about the indication of parental nutrition, caloric requirement. We'll be discussing parental nutrition components, and also in our discussion, we will include the neonatal needs of macro and macro components and neonatal challenges and the American Society of Parental and Enteral Nutrition recommendations. Starting with the neonatal need, to know the needs of our neonatal population, this is very, very important to understand. First, we need to do a classification of our neonatal population. We can classify our neonatal population in various ways. The neonates in the first 28 days of their life. We can also classify them as preterm versus term neonates. Preterm means less than 37 weeks of gestational age. Term neonatal means more than 37 weeks of gestational age. We can also classify them based on their size and weight as extremely low birth weight babies, very low birth weight babies, low birth weight babies that is less than 2,500 grams, that is 2.5 kilos, and medially low birth weight babies. So after the classifications, once we classify, we'll be able to identify the exact need of our neonatal population. So who need the parental nutrition? As per the American Society of Parental and Enteral Nutrition, we have to consider parental nutrition for neonates in the critical care setting, regardless of diagnosis when enteral nutrition is unable to meet energy needs. As per the American Society of Parental and Enteral recommendation, use parental nutrition for children when intestinal tract is not functional or cannot be accessed. Initiate parental nutrition within 1 to 3 days in infants and within 4 to 5 days in older children and in adolescents when it is evident that they will not tolerate oral intake for extended period of time. We can begin parental nutrition promptly after the birth in very low birth weight infants. So the key to success is to respond on time. For very small neonates, that is the extremely low birth weight or very low birth weight babies, we have to initiate the total parental nutrition soonest possible. That is just a few hours after the birth. The indication of parental nutrition includes, this is the list of indications which include the prematurity, that is the age, esophageal atresia, which means the complete blockage or obstruction of esophagus, intestinal atresia, short bowel syndrome as an absolute indication. Those patients who are with the short bowel syndrome, maybe they are going to receive the total parental nutrition for the rest of their life. Enterocutaneous fistulus, prolonged post-operative ileus, chylothorax, cystic fibrosis, which is a genetic disease, genetic disorder, intestinal pseudo-obstruction, that is the blockage or obstruction of the intestines, Crohn's disease, which is an inflammatory bowel disease. This is how the short bowel syndrome looks. If you can see, this is the whole bowel from one end to the other end. So the bowel is absolutely, the gastrointestinal tract is not available. So in this case, the total parental nutrition is absolutely indicated. And this is the atresia. You can see the misconnections. So nutrition support is applied. This is our daily, we have seen a lot of time in our neonatal care ICUs that sometimes the nutrition support is applied inappropriately. That is too little or too late in our too sick and too immature population, or sometimes it is given too much or too quickly to dramatically reverse prior prolonged period of inappropriate nutrition support, which is a wrong practice. We are very lucky in the very recent years, that is in 2019, American Society of Parental and Enteral Nutrition creates these pathways. You can go to the website. I highly recommend, where once you click any of the domain in this pathways. For example, if you are looking for the indication of parental nutrition or any kind of shortage you are suffering, and you want to know what is the Aspen guidelines, you can just click any of these and it will appear the pop-up with the window, and there you can further go in the details, and you can read about this the pathways, clinical pathways as per the Aspen guidelines. So it is available for everybody. You can go to the website of Aspen, American Society of Enteral and Parental Nutrition, nutritioncare.org, and where you can access this guideline, and some of these guidelines are available for free for everyone. So you're not requiring any kind of payment in this. So the first thing in the neutral, once after the indications, once we know the total parental nutrition in units as indicated, the very first step to estimate the caloric goal. And this is very, very important to estimate caloric requirement accurately. Accuracy is the key to the success. Neonates, the neonatal patient, they require around 100 to 130 kilocalories per kg per day. Infant require 80 to 120 kilocalories per kg per day. The sicker or the smaller the child, the more they require the caloric needs. Ultimately need sufficient calories to promote weight gains, typically which is 10 to 30 grams of the weight per day. For the smallest neonates, actually calculate as gram per kilogram per day as per the Aspen guideline. After we know the nutrition, once we know the total required calorie, the second step is to know the the goal protein. What is the requirement of the protein? The dose of protein in neonate varies. It depends on the age of the patient. It depends on the weight of the patient, age of the patient, and the size of the patient. For example, in very low birth weight babies, the dose of protein is 3 to 4.5 gram per kilogram per day. Term neonate, it is 2 to 2.5 gram per kilogram per day. So that is why in the very first step, we have to classify our neonates as extremely low birth weight, very low birth weight, or medially low birth weight. So we can dose protein accurately, which is very, very important in our nutrition, in our neonatal population. So what about the nutrition, parental nutrition? We can classify the total parental nutrition component in two parts: macro component that is larger in size, for example, dextrose, amino acids, and intravenous, and micronutrients that is electrolyte, trace element, vitamins, minerals, and so on. Today we will be focusing more towards the macronutrients. So parental nutrition composition: dextrose, it composes 40 to 60% of the calories. Glucose infusion rate is the key to success when you are giving calories in terms of dextrose. Our neonatal population, they can tolerate up to 14 milligram per kilogram per minute. In Aspen, it's also recommended. It's also written 15 milligram per kilogram per minute. Fat, the total around 20 to 40% of the calories are coming from the fats, that is the lipid, lipofundin. Around, if you can give the max, if you give more than 60% of the calories from the fats, it may cause ketosis. It is very important to prevent essential fatty acid deficiency syndrome. You can start the dose of fat 0.5 gram per kilogram per day, and you can go up to, it depends on the requirement of the patients. The protein dose is based on the grams, the weight of the classification of the baby. Now, about little bit about the protein, you can start early and aggressive. As per the Aspen guideline, we can start protein with the gold dose. In adult patient, as we know, we have to start low and go slow. For example, in adult patient, we can start 0.5 gram per kilogram per day, and we can go up to 1.5 or 2 gram per kilogram per day. But in the neonatal population, we can initiate with the gold dose, that is 3 to 3.5 kilogram per day, as it is well tolerated as per the Aspen guidelines. Amino acid is a source of energy, as well as it is a source of nitrogen for the protein synthesis, which is very important in this age group. Quality and the quantity of amino acid are essential in neonates, and the caloric value of amino acid is 4 kilocalorie per gram. Every 1 gram of amino acid will provide us 4 kilocalories. The very first day of the protein, we have something called a starter formula. Starter formula is, as we know, sometimes the babies, for example, if they're born in the middle of the night or when the pharmacies are closed, when it is not possible to produce total parental nutrition. So we have something called starter formulas. They are available, which is a combination. It is a combination of amino acid, dextrose, and it's available in the pharmacies without electrolytes and trace elements, which can be given as a starter in the beginning. Within the first few hours of the life just after the birth, and the next day the pharmacy can produce the total parental nutrition. ASPEN guidelines, as per the ASPEN recommendation, our neonates, they can tolerate new proteins from the very first day of the life. We can begin with 3 gram per kilogram per day. Lipid also we can start can be given as a 3 gram per kilogram per day of the lipid immediately after the birth. It can be given also, and protein also 3 to 3.5 gram per kilogram per day. Just after the birth we can give it. As per the ASPEN recommendation, it is well tolerated. Now a little bit about the other micronutrients, that is the dextrose. Dextrose is a source of energy. Around 50 to 60% of the calories will be coming from the dextrose. Dextrose is the main source of kilocalories or the energy for the neonates. 40 to 60% of the calories will be coming from dextrose. Every 1 gram of the dextrose will provide 3.4 kilocalorie to the patients. The most important thing in dextrose is the glucose infusion rate. We can give, as we talked in our earlier slides, we can give glucose infusion rate up to 14 mg per kg per minute, but the starting point is the key to success. We can start from 4 to 6 mg per kg per minute, and we can reach up to 12 to 14 mg per kg per minute as per the tolerance. There are different ways, different formulas to calculate the glucose infusion rate. This is one of the way to calculate GIR, that is the glucose infusion rate in neonatal population. When we are giving dextrose more than the maximum dose of the dextrose, or if we are infusing dextrose more than the neonatal population can tolerate, for example, more than 15 mg per kg per minute, then it may cause hyperglycemia, sometimes, which is very, very dangerous for our babies. It may also cause increased carbon dioxide production, lipogenesis, liver steatosis. ASPEN recommendation is to start from dextrose as 4 to 8 mg per kg per minute, and we can advance every day from 1 to 3 mg per kg per minute up to maximum of 12.5 to 15 mg per kg per minute of glucose infusion rate. There are little bit about the lipids. It's available as 20% lipids in the pharmacies. There are certain misconceptions about the lipid, that it can increase the risk of sepsis, which is incorrect. It is also a misconception that lipid may compromise immunity. It may cause thrombocytopenia, interfere with the oxygenation. All these are misconceptions. As per the evidence-based practice, we can start lipid from the very first day of the life. Lipid is a very important source of energy. It is the most dense source of the energy. Every 1 gram of lipid can provide 10 kilocalories in the total parental nutrition, and it is low in osmolarity, which is very, very important in in pediatric or bigger childs, when osmolarity is an issue, and when the central venous access is not available when we are giving the total parental nutrition from peripherally. There are certain risk factors of hypertriglyceridemia, which include those patients who are on propofol or receiving steroid or liposomal amphotericin, these kind of medication. And there are certain disease state like liver or renal disease may cause hypertriglyceridemia. When to start parental nutrition in neonate is very, very important to understand. Very low birth weight neonates, we can start ideally within first few hours of the life. That is just after the birth, we can start total parental nutrition. Just always remember these neonates, especially extremely low birth weight and very low birth weight babies or premature babies, that they born without any kind of nutrition stores in their body. Unlike adult patients, because in adult patient we can wait for 5 to 7 days or 6 days, depending on the patient clinical situation. But in neonates, we have to start total parental nutrition soonest possible. And we can use, as I have discussed earlier, starter formula or vanilla back or base parental nutrition within the first few hours of the life. These starter TPNs are it's a very good choice. We can start total parental nutrition aggressively, and especially in very sick or very low birth weight babies, as it is very important to start it. This is some of the recommendation for the weight. We have to do the weight of the patient daily, the height, circumference, length, and all and so on. This is as per the ASPEN guideline. Electrolyte, this is very important to understand. We have to do the electrolyte panel for the first. We have to understand these neonates, especially the very small babies, extremely low birth weight babies. For example, if you have a baby in your hospital, 800 grams, the total amount of blood in the body is around 40 ml. Just remember before asking or sending any blood test that the total amount of blood in the baby body is 40 ml. Around every blood sample require, or every testing required 1 to 2 ml of the blood. So for example, if you are doing 4 to 5 different blood tests, it may take half of the body blood of the baby. So you have to do the blood transfusion, which is very dangerous. So try to avoid when possible the lab test. These are the neonatal norms in neonatal population. A higher sodium 136 to 145 is a normal. Potassium 4 to 6.2 MEQs per liter, 4 to 6 MEQs per liter is a normal in neonatal population. So these are the neonatal norms. So we have to understand it. We should not react once we saw these kind of lab values in our neonatal population. Osmolarity is a very important thing in parental nutrition, especially when we are dealing with bigger childs in children about 4 to 5 above the age of 4 to 5 years. As we know, parent osmolarity is very important, especially when we are giving total parental nutrition peripherally. As we know, an adult patient can tolerate up to a maximum of 900 milliosmoles per liter of the total parental nutrition. A pediatric patient can tolerate around 1000 milliosmoles per liter of the total parental nutrition solution, the maximum. And the neonatal patient can tolerate up to 1100 to 1200 milliosmoles per liter. And this is very important to understand when we are giving total parental nutrition. Peripherally, in central, the osmolarity is not an issue, but in peripheral total parental nutrition, osmolarity is a very important issue. We have to consider it. In osmolarity, different two of the macro component take part in the osmolarity and electrolytes, that is dextrose and amino acid. They take part in the osmolarity calculation and also the electrolyte. We'll see in the coming slides, inshallah. So when we are giving the total parental nutrition, we have to understand the access, which kind of access is available before compounding or suggesting the total parental nutrition for our patients in neonatal population or a pediatric population. A peripheral access is available or a central venous access is available. For central venous access, the good thing is we are lucky. The good thing is the neonatal population, they require more calories, they require more dextrose and amino acid. So more amino acid and dextrose means the higher osmolar solution, which is not possible to be giving peripherally. And in this population, the good thing is the central venous access is available by birth. We can use it. So we can fulfill their needs of electrolytes and dextrose and amino acid from the very first day of their life. This is, we have to understand the central, what is the meaning of central venous catheter or central venous access. In the central venous access, the tip of the catheter is entering into superior vena cava. It is very important to make sure whenever we are infusing the total parental nutrition, the tip of the catheter from which we are infusing the total parental nutrition, that it is sitting inside the superior vena cava. There is only one way to confirm the placement of the tip of the catheter in the central venous catheter, and that is the chest X-ray. As you can see in this X-ray, the tip of the catheter inside the superior vena cava, because any of such mistake may be lethal for our patient. Now, a little bit to understand how to calculate the osmolarity of parental nutrition. We can calculate the osmolarity. There are different ways to calculate. The quickest way to calculate the osmolarity is, for example, if you have a patient who is receiving total parental nutrition, dextrose, amino acid, and electrolytes and lipid. For the lipid, we are usually not recommending to calculate the osmolarity, but dextrose, there are different ways to calculate osmolarity. One of the way to calculate osmolarity of dextrose is to multiply the percentage of dextrose with 50. For example, if your patient is receiving, if the total percentage of dextrose, the final percentage of dextrose, for example, in the total parental nutrition bag is 10, then the osmolarity of the TPN will be 10 times 50, so it's 500 milliosmoles per liter. Amino acid, we calculate the osmolarity by multiplying the percentage of amino acid, the final percentage of amino acid in the TPN with 100. Electrolyte, we can calculate the osmolarity for each and every electrolyte separately, or we can add just 200 milliosmoles in the total osmolarity of dextrose and amino acid. So for an adult patient, if it is less than 900 milliosmol or till 900 milliosmol, we can give peripherally. In a pediatric patient, 1000, and neonatal patient 1100 to 1200. But if the patient is receiving total parenteral nutrition, which is most of the cases in neonatal population as a centrally, then osmolarity is not an issue. These are some references I highly recommend to go and read, that is in which is available in ASPEN website, American Society of Parental Care, Parental and Enteral Nutrition. I suggest you people to please to visit these resources, and this will be very helpful to you. And with this, thank you very much, and I'm open for any question and answer if there is any. Thank you very much.